Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Miracle Health Habits. Today, y'all, we're going to hit on a couple different pillars. We're going to hit on mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, and maybe some extra areas of health that are just going to come up organically. Y'all, I want to be transparent with y'all, and I really just want to take this moment to honor David. It's just so crazy, when you're going through life and things come up. Y'all, we planned our interview to go live, 20 minutes ago. And normally I'm 5 to 10 minutes early and I'm super prepared, super excited, and then my computer literally, it just blacked out. And I'm communicating with David. I'm like, David, oh no, I don't know what's happening. And y'all, his response, and, he was just he was like, it's okay. Technology happens. He was way more calm than me. And he was just so genuine and so nice and so kind. And I'm just like shocked because, these interviews, people take a lot of time to prepare for them and, their schedule, like to get on David's schedule, like this, y'all know who he is, it's an honor and it's a privilege. And so I really just wanted to take a moment to honor David because he really showed, authenticity, genuineness, and y'all, it's just more kindness. And so I just want to say thank you so much, David. But also I want to give you the chance for the people who don't know you yet, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Xaye, that was awesome. I mean, you brought tears to my eyes. Seriously, it was such a beautiful thing that you just said. And we'll get into how we do this. How I responded to you is available to everyone in the world, Xaye. That's the coolest thing. It's nothing magical. I don't have any gifts that anyone else doesn't have. But when you learn techniques and you learn tools and you use them, it's amazing how they actually work. I've been in this business of personal growth for 43 years. I've been a long time. I've seen a lot of changes. A lot of magic has happened in 43 years. A lot of pain has happened in 43 years. A lot of success, a lot of loss. In the last year and a half, I lost my mom and dad both. And, it's really different when you talk about grieving and loss when you discuss a family member versus a client. I've taught a grieving class for 30 years. It didn't do a thing. And when I lost my mom and dad, I had to start all over again. I had to start on scratch one, and I rewrote the whole program because of what I learned from losing my mom and dad. So I started out in the world of sports psychology 43 years ago, working with athletes. I still have a major league pitcher I work with, but most of my work transformed in 1990 to the world of relationships and the world of personal growth and exploding it to the highest level possible. But I want to tell you something else, and that for people that will understand, a lot of times individuals look at someone like myself, say, without understanding what we've gone through to get to where we are, and you're in the same situation. A couple of things have really made me the person I am, and I'm always trying to be better, but one was a failed suicide attempt. And that was in 1990. And that was a big one. Even as a counselor, I had denied my depression. I denied my addictions. I denied my anxiety. I denied everything. I was labeled a golden child in high school in athletics. And then when I got out of, I played basketball for several years at Syracuse University. And when I got out of there, I was called the golden child of personal growth. And in 1990, Lifetime Television called me the #1 lifestyle coach in the world. And, so you're given all these accolades, right? But if you're not grounded to handle them, they can become a burden. All of a sudden our expectations are, I should be better than I am. I should be more of this and more of that, right? And so then I was covering up a lot of my pain with alcohol. And I was a full-blown alcoholic. It never affected, when I say affected, I never came to work with a hangover or work slow. I knew how to plan my day. All addicts do this very well. We know how to plan this day to be highly functional, And then it all came to a crashing halt in 1990 when I attempted to take my life and I failed. It was about a year after that when I recovered that I committed the rest of my existence to the deepest work I could ever find. And, that deepest work doesn't necessarily mean just like the incest victims I work with, or it doesn't mean the people that are coming out of bankruptcy or, some really horrendous, difficult things. everyone has their own challenges, and I look at every client's challenge as monumental as they do. If I can match and help them understand, yes, this is a big change you're going through, we immediately get them to calm down and say, wow, there's someone that understands me. And I think that that's some of the things that have come out of like my addictions and depression and failed suicide, is that over the years, I've become humbler without a doubt. I've become more vulnerable without a doubt. And those are gifts from failure. Those are amazing gifts, Xaye, that we can take forward and transform who we are into someone we really want to be. I could talk about my mom and dad for hours, and I wish I could, because I had a horrendous upbringing. From 0 to 18, I was an alcoholic at 12. I was way too much for my parents to handle. But
we can take a moment.
Especially my mom. She never gave up on me. That's a powerful trait. And I fell in love with my parents after the age of 30 to right now. My mom died a year and a half ago. My dad was 9 months ago exactly. And I have learned so much and am practicing such a different way of living than I ever imagined I would, say, and people, again, look at, we have 13 books, 5 #1 bestsellers, all these accolades, which I'm so grateful for, believe me. But that's not the story. The story is behind the story. The story is what we overcome. The story is the trials, the challenges. And that's why I wanted to open this up with this type of vulnerability, because I want people to be more like me and you, and connect to us by understanding that we are like our audience. We do have the same challenges. It doesn't matter that you and I are leading this discussion. We have what they have. And when people who are watching, observing, listening are listening to experts or people that have wisdom, or whatever words we want to use, and we can relate to them, Xaye, and hopefully they're relating to us right now by us being vulnerable. You started it. You said, hey, I was a mess. I'm 20 minutes late. I was freaking out, and all that kind of stuff. So you started out being extremely vulnerable, loving, open, and kind. And the comments you gave to me were just beautiful. And then that encourages me to say, yeah, let's get everyone on the same page. And we are all one human being race. It's this nonsense we're going through with colors and genders and sexual stereotypes and political. Oh my goodness gracious, would you calm the hell down and realize that, we are one. And that statement is so often given, Xaye, and it's such a hard one to understand. It's like, David, what do you mean we're one? I was never an alcoholic like you. How could you and I be together? And I'll say, well, maybe you were a codependent. Maybe you were addicted to food. Maybe you had your shit though, my love. And, just like I do. And so let's connect on the fact that we're human first. Let's not connect on, titles and accolades and all that. Let's connect at the human level and understand that Xaye and I are here for you. We're not here for ourselves. We're going to learn from each other. Xaye and I will learn from, but we're really here for you. And I hope that out of this conversation, if you can take away one gem, from each of us, just one thing that touches you or reminds you what you already know that you're not doing, right? But this stuff, you're just not doing it. We'll take that away as a gem and allow Xaye and I to be ourselves. And as we be ourselves, we hope that will come into your existence and lift your spirits to a level prior to joining us today.
Wow. David, I'm super grateful to have this moment with you. It just feels so beautiful, and I'm getting emotional, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this moment. Seriously. And I also just feel called. It's just so crazy. I said, whenever I do this interview, because there's some questions that I wanted to go right, and you opened up beautifully. So it's going to be so easy for me to go straight to those questions. But I also want to honor you and your parents. And would it be okay if we just took a moment took a moment for you and hold this space for you.
Yeah.
Would that be okay? Just a few.
I welcome that.
Okay. I just want to take a moment and let us connect. Let us, I'm just going to look into your eyes and let us continue to be vulnerable and connect.
Am I intruding?
You are.
Devann?
Hi, Miss Essel. How you doing?
Oh, it's beautiful to meet you.
Likewise,
So-
likewise.
So
I was just yeah.
This is my partner Devann Edwards, and Devann, you interrupted our moment. We were taking a moment for Mr. Essel, for his parents, who recently passed, but then also for just who he is as a being. Again, this interview could have been any type of way, but it's just really a moment, and it's not scripted. I mean, I have my notes so I can stay on track, but this is so beautiful. I'm so grateful to connect with you, David, and just thank you. I mean, and all that work that you said that you've been through, like, it's showing up, and so many people are going to be impacted with this interview in this moment. And I can't say thank you enough, just with our experience together. So just thank you.
Yeah.
One question I do want to go straight in, because I know you talked about your addictions and you talked about, part of your struggle, and so I personally know people who let me not say that. How can someone who may show the signs of having addictions, but they're hiding from it, or they're hiding behind their addictions, or they're in denial, how can people who love them support them? How can, maybe there's somebody here listening today that they may be hiding from addictions or in denial about it. How can they stand for themselves?
Well, beautiful questions. And, the very first thing I'll say when it comes to an individual is that until we shatter denial and look in the mirror, and a mirror, I think, is a perfect way to do this. And to say that, I have been consuming more of X, Y, or Z than is necessary or appropriate. I've been spending way too much time, guys. And I have to tell you something that's just so sad to see the number of people addicted to social media, video games. I mean, we're not talking about 2 hours a day. We're talking, I've got a young man from London that I work with every week, 18 hours a day, video games. This is where we started, 18 hours a day. And that is not abnormal in this world anymore. It's really sad, So in the world of addiction, I think step number one for the person that is in the addiction itself is to admit that it's there. And it's a hard thing to do. There's, we can talk about the conscious and subconscious mind in a second, but I want to jump to your other question is, what if you love someone and you see them struggling, you're a best friend of someone and you see them struggling. And this might sound surprising, but the very first thing is clean up your act. Clean up you. There's a damn good chance you're addicted or you are dependent on something. Clean yourself up. And then now you have a right to go ahead and to share your love with someone else and saying, hey, I see that the alcohol is increased or the food is increased. And then is there something I can do for you? Is there a way that I can be an accountability partner? Is there a way I can support you? But the mistake a lot of people make, and I understand it's a human one, is that we're looking at someone else's problems and we're not taking care of our own, right? And so, maybe you have an anger issue and this person we're talking about has an alcohol issue. Maybe you have a codependency issue where you say yes to everything when you should be saying no to 90% of the crap coming your way. And you're looking at someone that's, abusing pot. So it's like, take care of your anger, take care of your codependency. And as you heal, trust me, they will feel a shift in your energy. And, there's nothing more powerful than someone who has overcome their own dependency or addiction to be believed by someone who's still struggling. You know, it's the righteous ones that say they have no issues, that the addict or the dependent person has a hard time trusting because they know it's not true. So, you know, here and Devann, you know, Xaye and I started off this whole conversation with humility, vulnerability, being open, being honest. She did this amazing job of coming on going, oh my God, I was freaking out for 20 minutes. I couldn't get my computer to work. And, you know, I just want to tell you that this is what I was feeling. And, you know, that type of exposure that Xaye shared with the audience with this, she's human, you know, and technology can go awry on anyone, even Xaye. You know, I mean, it can just go nuts. And so for her to be able to roll with that, you know, now I'm asking the audience to do the same thing. You know, would you write down on a piece of paper right now, what are you dependent upon? Is it television? Is it social media? Is it conspiracy theories? Is it eating? Is it drinking? Is it pot? Is it nicotine? Is it the desire, the need to be right? You know, are you willing to go to the ends of the earth arguing to be right? You know, like what is your gig that you need to take care of? And David Essel still has gigs to take care of, gang. I'm not out of the woods yet. You know, it's an ongoing process of life. And there isn't a goal to reach. You know, I don't ever tell people that we should be reaching for a certain goal in life other than self-improvement. That's the goal, you know. So you ate 18 Oreos last night. Let's get it down to 16 tonight. You know, you watched 4 hours of television tonight. Let's get it down to 3. You know, like, come on, look in the mirror. The pandemic has opened up doorways for exceptional personal growth because you're stuck with yourself. And a lot of us have gone deep into addiction in the last 3 years because we don't want to see who we are. We don't want to look in the mirror. We don't want to admit we have stuff. So instead, what do? We blame it on other organizations and people and politics and God knows what, you know. So I think really it's the time in our existence, and this is a perfect format to share this, is to take care of your stuff. You know, take care of your stuff. I got a new client that joined yesterday. We take on very few clients because we have a very high accountability practice. We do things very differently in my counseling and executive coaching practice. But, you know, we brought this guy on yesterday and he said, you know, I've had this struggle for 22 years. I don't think there's a way out of it. And in 60 minutes, without me doing very much, we got him believing that he can get out of this mess that he's been struggling with for 19 years, you know. And now he texts me every day. All my clients text me. I want to know how you are. What are you doing? What are you doing well? What's your challenge? Come on, baby. You know, it's accountability. That's how we change. So this is a perfect format for people to change. But the only way you can change is if first you get down and dirty with yourself and you say, here's my gigs, and you write them down right now. Don't wait until after this interview. Write down right now, unless you're driving. Write down, what are the things I've been denying, procrastinating, avoiding? What don't I want to deal with? What don't I want to admit? You know, when you get to that level of vulnerability and honesty, you're working, you know, from the Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela range, you know, Mother Teresa, you're down in the dirt. You know, I love telling the story of Nelson Mandela. I love this man with all of my heart. You know, he came out as an attorney in South Africa. He joined the ANC, the African National Congress. There's 2 arms of the ANC. There's the peacemakers, and then there's the terrorists. He went the peacemaker route. He did everything he could to wake up South Africa in a peaceful protest manner, and it didn't work at the speed he wanted. It was working, not at the speed he wanted. So he switched sides to the opposite side of the ANC and started getting involved with blowing up white businesses. He didn't get put in prison for 27 years because he was a freaking altar boy. He was an individual that wanted things to move faster than they were, just like almost 99% of the world's population. We have no patience anymore for anything. But then magic happened. And the magic was he was put in prison for 27 years with 7 other ANC members. And then the magic got deeper, and he started leaving the cell to learn Afrikaans, the language of the guards, the Dutch/South African language. He didn't know it. It was only spoken amongst the whites. He learned Afrikaans. He'd come back to his cell. His members were pissed at him. You're betraying us. You're on the other side now. And they were giving him hell. And his response was this: I will never be able to rule South Africa unless I love every person in this country.
That is so beautiful. Wow. I can't wait to re-listen to this as a viewer. Because I'm like, it was so much in that. And I know you hit on it, but I want to go deeper on it. How did you recover? What was some practical things that you personally did to come out of your addiction? And how do you stay on this consistency of overcoming adversity?
Wow. Well, I will say what I said to everyone. I could never have gotten sober by myself. I tried for years, even in the position I am, I was helping people get sober left and right. It doesn't work with yourself, So I think we have this fallacy because we're afraid of asking for help. We're afraid of being vulnerable. We're afraid of people knowing that as a counselor, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic. We're afraid of all those things. I'm going to be judged left and right. And so we don't do anything. Or we do the denial thing. Oh, I'm going to just have 2 glasses of wine. That was my big gig. I would always say, okay, last night was rough. Tonight it's just 2, and turn 2 would always turn into a couple bottles. And so I reached out and I went to a treatment center. And this is a great question. So let me talk about something called a bottom in addiction. A bottom is often thought of as, someone gets a DUI, someone drives a car drunk and kills someone, whatever. People think bottoms have to be this horrendous thing. But a bottom is called a choice. A bottom is a choice to quit emotional spending, to quit drinking, to quit overeating, to quit smoking, to quit watching video games, to quit watching social media. You hit a bottom when you're tired enough of the ridiculousness that you're living that you say, I need help. Now, I've had 16-year-olds with their first hangover that have come in asking for help, and that was their bottom. I wish that was my bottom at 16. Didn't quite happen that way. I waited so many years, and then when my bottom finally hit, and Devann, I don't know if you were here listening to this, but I'd mentioned in the beginning that, I had a failed suicide attempt in 1990, and that was what led to my bottom. That's what led to me seeing that I was using alcohol and drugs to cover up depression, ADD, ADHD, and anxiety. I had all these mental conditions. And as a counselor, you can't self-diagnose. It's impossible to self-diagnose. You just think you're rocking it, and then you're using alcohol to self-medicate or food to self-medicate. So very first thing is, again, admittance, but then you got to ask for help. Honestly, I wish I could say that you could follow a book and get sober, but the odds are very small. And I want to tell you why. There's 2 parts of the brain. There's the conscious mind. And let's say right now, the conscious mind of someone with us is saying, God, I'm listening to this guy talking. I'm listening to Xaye and Devann, and these guys are all on top of their game. And I want to get on top of the game, and I'm going to stop drinking tonight. That's the conscious mind. Sounds great. If it was that easy, we would never have an addict in the world. Next day, you wake up and you're going, well, maybe I'll have 1 or I'll have 2. That's the subconscious mind. So we have the conscious mind of intent that says, I want to change something. But then we have the pattern that we have fed it ourselves. The subconscious mind is not evil. It's only doing what we tell it to do. So every night at 8:02, the first bottle of wine would open. Well, it only takes about 90 days for you to do a habit every day before the subconscious says, oh, we got to keep doing this. And so then you come up with this whole thing where you go, I'm going to cut back, but then you don't. I'm going to cut back, but then you don't. That's because of the pattern back here. Now, guys, this can be for anything. It can be for the desire to be right in every conversation, which could be called arrogance or cockiness. It can be the addiction to food or nicotine or alcohol or pot. It could be anything. It could be watching freaking the news. There are so many people addicted to the news. And it's back here, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 11:30. Those buttons go off on the clock, and the subconscious has a great memory of, oh no, you like the news. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. We start eating sugar now. It's fill in the blank, whatever it is, right? That's all back here. So what we want to do in the world of addiction recovery, since we're talking about that, is that we want to understand that this is where the work goes, which means the only way you change the subconscious mind is through daily action steps, not daily thoughts. Daily thoughts do not change this. Listen, from 1980 to 1996, I had an affirmation that I screamed at the top of my lungs every morning with incredible emotion, because I used to teach this ridiculous thing called the law of attraction, which is the biggest piece of crap ever taught by man, and I can prove it today. Biggest piece of crap. And I proved it. 16 years. The law of attraction says this: whatever you put out in the universe must respond in kind. Are you freaking kidding me? If it did, how come it didn't work for me? For 16 years, I said this: I am David Essel, a child of God, happy, healthy, and sober today. And I lied every morning. And that affirmation kept me in my addiction because it made me feel good first thing in the morning. I was lying to myself and I was feeling good because at 7 a.m. I was sober. So it felt good, but it was a complete lie. And you know who exposed it? The most surprising thing in the world. If you guys have ever heard of a gentleman, he's no longer with us. His name still is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He's the founder of Transcendental Meditation, the most powerful form of meditation ever created, the most rigorously studied form of meditation ever created. Our own government in 1990 put $1.5 million into studying the positive or negative effect of transcendental meditation on addiction, high blood pressure, and all these things. And they compared it with all the other tools out there, even medication, and nothing could lower blood pressure or diminish the craving of addiction at the level transcendental meditation did. You know, this gentleman during the interview said to me, we went off air and we were talking about life and motivation and all these different things. And he's a deeply spiritual man. If you can remember, I don't know if you guys, you might be a little younger. If you remember the show, The Addams Family.
Oh yeah, we know that is somebody. Yeah.
Okay, with Cousin It. Cousin It was about this big with really long gray hair. That's what Maharishi looked like. He looked like this tiny little Indian with very long gray, went down past his butt. And during the break, he said, David, he goes, you really love your affirmations and positive thinking, don't you? And I said, absolutely. And he said, what's your favorite one? And I told him the one I just shared. And he goes, is it true? And I lied. I said, yes, it's true. And at that moment, I knew he knew I was lying. And I didn't change my course. And he said, if it is true indeed, keep saying it. But any affirmation that is not in your current reality is a lie, which means we're out of integrity. So all of your affirmations that are real, keep them. But the other ones, you're lying to yourself. Now, think about this. Do you know how many people have been trained to say, I earn $1 million a year every morning? They get up with I have a home in Bali. I have 7 homes in the United States, right? Okay, so let's go to the $1 million a year. I love this one the most. How much money does one have to make in a month to earn $1 million a year? You don't have to get your calculator out. I have the numbers. $83,000 a day. So for everyone waking up saying, I earn $1 million this year, give me a freaking break. The percentage of Americans that earn $1 million is around 2 to 3%. You have to have incredible determination, perseverance, persistence, gifts, creativity, knowledge. You have to be willing to walk through one mountain and then another mountain and another mountain. Colonel Sanders did not make $1 million until he was 68 years of age. 40 plus years pushing his chicken, didn't do crap until he was 68. He worked his butt off for 40 something years. He made $1 million. At 88, he became a billionaire. Okay. So I just want to put this stuff in reference. Like, we're fooling ourselves. We're kidding ourselves, waking up and saying I'm sober when I'm not, waking up and saying I'm earning $83,000 a month when I'm earning $3,000 or whatever. Nothing wrong with $3,000 a month, but let's get in reality, Now, and so in our courses and in our one-on-one work, we teach people how to do realistic affirmations, affirmations that have power that you're working towards, such as I am earning $36,000 a year. And by putting in 2 to 3 extra hours a day within 6 months, I'll be at $46,000 a year. Amen. Move on to the next one. But you see how we teach it is different. We say we're here. We talk about reality. We say what we're going to go to, but we're also going to tell you what we're going to do to get there. It's not some kind of freaking fantasy. Keith Mitchell is a really great friend of mine. He's a former NFL All-Pro linebacker who was paralyzed on the field. He was an amazing linebacker for New Orleans and a couple other teams, and he was taken off the field. He was told he would never walk again. He was in a hospital. The surgeon came in and said, "There's no way you'll ever walk." Keith Mitchell looked at him and said, "Would you please leave this room right now?" Keith Mitchell is the guru of yoga, one of the top yoga gurus in the world. And he did it because he believed that he was worthy of healing and walking again. We can talk about so many people, individuals I've interviewed, people I've met, friends. But when it comes right down to it, it's all about us being honest with ourselves, getting out of denial, getting out of justifications, getting out of rationalizations. And when Maharishi woke my butt up in 1996, it was a tough awakening. You know, I had traveled the world for 40 years as a speaker, telling people, whatever you think, you will receive. Whatever you believe will come to you. And yet, you know, maybe you guys can tell me stories that I'm not aware of, but I've never met a doctor who got his degree via a vision board. I could be wrong. Maybe there is someone out there. I never met a bodybuilder that won a championship, and I've trained bodybuilders mentally. I've never met one that did it without going into a gym, just by saying affirmations. You know, I have never met someone that got a Lamborghini in their driveway the next day, as it says on The Secret, you know? So I look at all this stuff and I say, can we have a touch of reality? I mean, can we just come back to a reality space, you know? And who wouldn't want to be able to wake up and say, I want a Maserati in my driveway tomorrow, and it happened. Or I want the soulmate of my life to pop into my world tomorrow. You know, soulmates are difficult people. Soulmates are really difficult people. Okay. So if you have a soulmate and you're struggling, you probably got a soulmate.
Why the man laughing?
You have no idea, David. You have no idea.
All right. Now, did I just help you guys or hurt you guys?
I hope the audience is listening, because bringing like reality and your imagination together is so key. It's not your daily thoughts that's going to keep you going, guys. It is the daily thoughts and the actions that's going to take you there. You have to merge them together. You can't have one without the other. It just doesn't work. And I love the examples you gave, David. But yeah, say it. That was
and, you know, and it's true. In our book, one of our books that went #1, and it's a funny title. Everyone told me that my career was dead if this book ever gets published, and it ended up becoming our #1 bestseller. And the name of it is Positive Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, but This Book Will. Mm-hmm. And we just came right out hitting hard. And we said, Devann, exactly what you said. We say in the book, 80% of your success will come from doing steps on a daily basis you would rather not do. That's 80%. That's you know, that's what makes an NFL linebacker different than an all college first team linebacker that doesn't make the pros. The linebacker that does is doing something a little different, a little bit more effort, a little bit more time in the screen room. There's a little bit of difference happening, right? Then 20% of your massive success will come from having a steel trap freaking positive brain. Bring that mountain on. I am bowling through it. You bring that challenge on. I'll find partners to help me find a way around it. Like that type of intensity, that desire, that willingness to go the extra mile. That's all mental. And that's 20% of massive success. And then the 80%, you know, that's the guys in the stadiums that are running at 6 a.m. when their buddies are sleeping. You know, those are the women that are, you know, doing their ballet classes or whatever 3 hours after the instructors left the room. You know, I'm just giving stereotypical examples, but I think you get the idea.
Yeah. Man, this thank you, David. You know what? Because this is what we need. You know, it grounds us, but then it also gives us realistic things. It reminds us the reality, and the reality is that we get to do the work, right? So thank you for bringing that. And reminding us that it's not just positive thinking. David, we're at 30 minutes. Can I ask one more question?
Xaye, you got me as long as you need me, hon.
Yay! Okay. I know that you are a master life coach. What does that mean, and how can someone master life?
Yeah, master life coach. It's a great title. You know, it's so a master life coach is someone that has the tools to share with others to help them get to a level they couldn't get to on their own. That is a master life coach. We have the tools, we have the background, and we have the failure. More often than not, the masters have the failures. You know, we go all through hell. You know, I share this. You guys are aware of Deepak Chopra.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a 2-pack a day smoker as a cardiologist in a Boston hospital. You know, like that, these are the things we need to talk about. You know, when he shared that with me on a radio show, I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away, you know, and Wayne Dyer shared with me his struggles with cocaine and other drugs. You know, I mean, what you said a second ago, Xaye, you know, it's about being real. You know, this is what this whole conversation today is. It's about, you know, let's get real with ourselves and let's get out of fantasy. And fantasy is fun. I'm not going to say it's not fun, you know, but it's not going to bring you what you want. I wrote books for 20 years, believing everyone was going to be a bestseller, and we didn't get any recognition for 20 years. But I just kept writing books. You know, I knew at some point it would work. Now, there's no guarantee it was going to work, but I knew that at some point it was going to work, you know, so I just kept writing. For everyone with us today, that's the determination I'm asking you to go in your own heart and soul and get. You have it. You have it as much as the three of us have it. You have that ability to transform your life through your own determination, your own willpower, your own desire to grow. But no one can pull that out of you. You have to wake up and start working on it. And one of the easiest things to do, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but to work on your willpower is to set your alarm 30 to 60 minutes earlier starting tomorrow. And do not shut it down. Do not hit snooze. This is the way you build integrity. This is the way you build internal strength, by doing things that are challenging at first. And then I promise you this, I guarantee this, within 6 to 8 months, it will become the norm. It will not be an effort anymore. Dropping sugar for the first 30, 60, 90 days is a bear, and then it becomes effortless. You know, I share my addictions because I think it's so important. I started at 12. For 30 years, I was nailed, man. They had me. Cocaine and alcohol, it was everything. I managed to be able to do what I do in this world by manipulating time and setting space so I could be well rested when I had clients and all that kind of stuff. But once I did the work and got through the first year of recovery, and now it's been so many years, but the greatest benefit came within the last year and a half, when not one time when my mom and dad were in hospice, not one time when my mom with dementia didn't know who I was, not one time did I ever think about taking a drink. It never even entered consciousness. And I want everyone to know this is not a David Essel gift. This is a gift that you have too. Yes, you have to do the work, but the longer you do the work, the easier the challenges become. They become nothing. You walk through them like a knife through hot butter. There's nothing to stop you. Get the momentum, attack that thing you'd rather not attack. Is it food? Is it drugs? Is it social media? Is it sex? Is it emotional spending? What is it? Go after that biggest mother, that hairiest monster under the bed that you've been stuffing back under there. Pull that sucker out. Look at him in the eyes. Tell him that you own him. Tell him you own him. And you are now going to move forward with the tenacity of a devil, a Tasmanian devil. You're going to move forward with the tenacity of someone that wants it so badly that they do not even see obstacles. All they see is opportunities. These are very powerful comments I'm making right now, that when you take in and you practice them on the subconscious level, well, I'm talking about writing too, not just thinking and saying. Write down that I will be tenacious in getting up in the morning. I'll be tenacious letting go of sugar. I'll be tenacious letting go of needing to be right. I'll be tenacious letting go of sugar and fast food and junk food. Like, write it, feel it. Put your energy and emotion in it, and then get an accountability partner. Get someone and share with them your vulnerability. I'm quitting sugar. I'm quitting alcohol. I'm quitting sleeping in. You know, like, get someone on your side. Tell them to text you every morning and wake your little butt up. Make sure you're awake, whatever you need to do, right? But this is your chance to transform your freaking life. And Xaye and Devann have given you an opportunity with this program right here to be able to have the tools to do it. Take notes during these sessions. Get in alignment with your beauty, because your beauty comes from your worthiness, and your worthiness comes from doing what you'd rather not do. It's a beautiful circle that we're all a part of once we see that there's a possibility to change. There's a formula, and it starts with doing what we'd rather not do. Stay right there. Pick one item. Stay right there. Master it. Go on to the next one and the next one. One thing at a time, baby, and your life can be transformed in a very short period of time.
David.
Wow.
We got some work to do. Y'all,
Yep.
I hope y'all hearing this. Y'all replay this over and over. If you have not upgraded to the VIP, y'all, for this episode right here, like, we have work to do. David was calling me out. I mean, David was like,
I'm thinking notes.
punching me, left hook, right hook. So, y'all, we got work to do. He gave so many strategies, so many tools, so many specific techniques. Y'all, listen to this again, please. David, what are you currently working on over the next couple months, personally and professionally?
Well, let's see. Personally, I'm looking to try to find more time to play tennis, quite frankly. I love tennis. I play once a week. It's not enough. So that's my personal goal over the next couple of weeks, that to get myself back out on the court more often, because, it is important to have a life outside of work. And I know a lot of us, it's easy to fall into workaholism. I still have to be very careful with that. So, that's one of my goals. We have multiple other things going on, Xaye, and one of the things is I'm working on a brand new book, and it's called David Essel's Permanent Alcohol/Addiction Recovery Program for Life. We do not believe in one day at a time recovery. We believe in making a massive commitment, a permanent commitment to recovery. And our clients are so successful, not just because of me. I motivate them and inspire at the highest level, but they buy in to the one day at a time doesn't work. As a matter of fact, one day at a time programs have about a 10% success rate. And let's flip that around, about a 90% failure rate. Those programs that are saying, listen, you have 20 years proving you're not a social drinker. You have 15 years proving you're still having hangovers at 30, for God's sake. Let's wake up and get permanently recovered. And that's from any addiction, including alcohol. So that's a book I'm working on right now. It's going to rock the world of recovery, because the world of recovery is not ready for David Essel, just like the world of positive thinking wasn't ready for me when I came out with that book, destroying all these other programs. We do it with class, though, guys. We have a little class when we take people down. We're not arrogant at that level, but we do have very strong belief systems. So, and then the last thing, Xaye, to answer your question, we created a program called Helping Americans Heal, and it's also helping the world heal. It's a free online program. We want this to blow up. We are giving away 500,000 copies of this program. We've invested a ton of money and time into it to give it away for free. When people join, the very first thing they get for free is our book, #1 best-selling book on positive thinking. You're going to get that in an email right away for free, so you can get the reality of success. And let me mention this to you. In this book, Positive Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, which is the book you get for free, I have 11 New York Times best-selling authors joining me. This isn't just David Essel spouting off at the top of his mouth, making some kind of claims. Yes, I make huge dramatic claims in that book, but we back it up with 11 New York Times best-selling authors. So, we have proof here that this stuff works. Then with the program Helping Americans Heal, every Monday you're going to get an email with interviews, articles. There's a meditation audio, a financial freedom audio. You'll get tools every Monday to help you in the healing process. It's something that we put together a year and a half ago when we saw the devastation that was happening and continued to happen today with the pandemic. I mean, it's still at an all-time high. The devastation is still crazy, and you see how it's mutating into different stuff. So we wanted people who have lost jobs, decreased their income dramatically, gone through divorces, had addictions during this time. We want them to know that there's a program for free, that they can get information every week to work on their self-care and their self-love. So all of that is at talkdavid.com. And, we work with people one-on-one. So if you're watching this and you say, God, I want to get with this guy, heck yes. We will find a way to fit you in. We do Zoom, Skype, phone, in person. We do it all just like you guys are doing, So we're here to help. We aren't going anywhere. And I've asked this many times, when are you going to retire? And the answer is never. And that's the truth, just because this is my life. It's the whole reason I'm put on earth. I mean, God put me here for this reason. I'm not letting him down. And I hope that through these interviews and everything we're doing, we just keep lifting this world to higher levels of consciousness.
I want to just clarify. So the freebie, that's the link you gave us, right? To give to the audience. Oh, okay, awesome. So we get access to all that, y'all.
Yeah.
I am changed, David. This past hour of my life, it's definitely grounding, vulnerable, love, connection, all the things. So thank you. I'm super honored and grateful to have this moment with you. Like, wow, just thank you. Y'all, please replay this right now. If you have not upgraded to the VIP, I highly suggest like you do that for this interview, y'all. I'm not playing. Like, I'm gonna listen to it probably on a weekly basis because this is really, really good. David, do you have any last words for the audience?
You're worthy of what you desire, and you prove your worthiness by the work you put into it.
And that's it. That is it. Y'all, go ahead and share your biggest takeaways in the Facebook group, y'all. And we will see y'all on the next episode. Thank you, David. We appreciate you.
Love being with you guys.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.